Ah, yes, Grand Theft Auto. You know it, you love it, you've committed all kinds of ridiculous crimes in it.
Grand Theft Auto has been around for... sorry about this. Hello?
What? Bowling, I can't... Cousin, you know I can't today. I'm busy going through the timeline of Grand Theft Auto's HD universe. No, not San Andreas and Vice City. They're in the 3D universe, and I already covered that. The HD universe covers GTA 4, Chinatown Wars, GTA 5, and their DLC.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah, no, I'll cover GTA Online too. Look, I'll call you back, okay? Okay. Sorry about that. Let's get started with the man himself, Niko Bellic. Serbia, mid-late 1990s to 2000s. As a soldier during the Yugoslav wars, Niko sees and does some of the worst things humanity is capable of. He and a group of his fellow soldiers get ambushed, and only 3 of the 15 survive. Him, Florian Kravic, and Darko Brevic. Niko figures one of these 2 sold them out, so he vows revenge for his fallen friends. After the war, Niko starts working for Ray Bulgarin and his human trafficking ring. While on a smuggling run to Italy, Niko sabotages the ship he's on, steals a bunch of Bulgarin's money, and swims to safety. But Bulgarin has his eyes all over Europe, so Niko figures the only way to be safe is by escaping overseas. While all this is going down, over in America, 3 ambitious criminals have a plan. 2004, North Yankton. Michael Townley, Trevor Phillips, and Brad have their eyes set on a load of cash held by Bobcat Security in North Yankton. They take hostages and successfully steal nearly $200,000 from the vault. They make a break for their getaway car and ride off, but this is Grand Theft Auto. The police are everywhere, even when you don't think they are. The cops chase the robbers, and a bullet strikes the driver, forcing Michael to drive. He loses the cops and then crosses some train tracks. As he does, a train nicks the tail of the car, causing it to spin out and smash into a tree. The trio proceed on foot, but they're intercepted by FIB agent Dave Norton, who shoots Brad. A second shot rings out, Michael falls to the ground and tells Trevor to run. So, the last man standing retreats into the snowy fields of North Yankton. Fast forward to Michael's funeral, and Norton walks by the proceeding, cigarette in hand. Then, just beyond the fence, Michael, sporting a beanie and aviators, puts out a cigarette, very much alive. Dun dun dun! 2008, Liberty City. Enter Niko Bellic. We jump to 2008, and this is a doozy of the year in the GTA canon. We'll be moving pretty freely between Grand Theft Auto 4, The Lost and the Damned, and The Ballad of Gay Tony to tell the whole story as best we can. After stowing away on a ship for 7 months, Niko Bellic finally arrives on the East Coast in Liberty City. He meets with his cousin Roman, who talked of his lavish life in Liberty City. Niko quickly learns that Roman owns a struggling cab business and can't make ends meet. Loan sharks are breathing down his neck, so Niko helps him with a few jobs. One job in particular leads to Niko chauffeuring Mallory and Michelle, both of whom would eventually date Roman and Niko, respectively. From there, Niko networks in Liberty City, meeting Little Jacob, the head of the Jamaican Mafia. The two become quick friends, but things are way more tense between Niko and Vlad, Roman's Russian loan shark. Niko inevitably executes Vlad for sleeping with Mallory, getting revenge for his cousin. Hey, speaking of revenge, at this point Niko reveals why he's in America, to find his old squad mates during the Yugoslav war, and get answers, and revenge! He's just on a revenge spree. Just a lot of revenge in this story. Soon after revealing this, the Bellic cousins are kidnapped by one of Mikhail Faustin's goons. Who's Mikhail Faustin? Just your run-of-the-mill Russian mob boss bent on achieving his own version of the American dream. We've seen them a million times. When the cousins wake up, they meet Faustin and his colleague Dmitry Raskolov. The mobsters coerce Niko into doing some work for them. One of these jobs sends Niko to broker to kill Jason Michaels, a member of the Lost Motorcycle Club, who has been seeing Faustin's daughter. Michaels was small time, but Faustin starts asking Niko to do more dramatic hits, which forces Dmitry to put a hit on Faustin. Niko carries it out and reports back to Dmitry to claim his reward. But in a not-so-surprising twist, Dmitry betrays Niko, selling him back to Bulgarin, the man Niko escaped from in Yugoslavia. Thankfully, Little Jacob saves Niko and they fight off Bulgarin's men together. After that, Dmitry doubles down and sets fire to Roman's apartment and budding cab business, forcing the cousins to retreat north to Bohan and meet up with Mallory, who knows a few people in the area who can get them some work. like local drug dealer Elizabeta Torres. Nico goes on a slew of different jobs, making all kinds of friends along the way, including Dwayne Forge, Playboy X, and Brucey Kibitz. Eventually, in one mission, Nico watches over a huge heroin deal, but things don't go as planned. But when do they do in the Grand Theft Auto universe? Tell me that. When do they go according to plan? The botched heroin deal. So let's rewind a bit. While Nico was getting acquainted with the Russian mafia, Johnny Klebitz was dealing with his own affairs. He's the vice president of the Lost Motorcycle Club, and for a while now, the gang has had some beef with its rival, the Angels of Death. The tipping point came when Billy Gray, the chapter president, heard that one of their boys, Jason Michaels, was killed in Broker, which might sound familiar to us because we know that that's Nico who gunned him down. We know the truth, but Billy spins the story and blames it on the Angels instead. At this point, Johnny starts butting heads with Billy, and even though he knows it's a bad idea, he joins the Lost in attacking the Angels, stealing some heroin. Johnny meets up with Elizabeta to sell the heroin at a house party, where he also meets Nico. Unfortunately, the buyer turns out to be an undercover cop, and the whole party ends with a firefight. The Lost later try selling the heroin to the Triads, but that deal doesn't go as according to plan either, leading to another firefight. The Grand Theft Auto universe seems to have a lot of these. Billy ends up getting arrested, making Johnny the de facto chapter president. To keep the gang in the green, he starts doing some odd jobs for other criminals. One of these leads to him and his friend Mal kidnapping Roman. You can imagine Nico was not happy about this. Luck of the Irish. Well, after the botched heroin deal, Nico moves on to bigger, better things, eventually meeting local criminal Packy McReary. He still pushes drugs too, and Elizabeta calls Nico claiming the Angels ripped her off in a cocaine deal. He meets up with little Jacob to steal the cocaine, and after they retrieve it, they run into Nico's girlfriend, Michelle. Except her name isn't Michelle. Her real name is Karen Daniels, and she's been working undercover for the International Affairs Agency the whole time. She takes the coke from them and offers Nico a deal. If he comes and works for the IAA, he won't go to jail. Don't be mistaken though, Nico's still a criminal at heart. He works with Packy to commit some lucrative crimes, some of which were under the orders of Ray Bocchino. He's living his best life until he gets a call from Mallory and learns that Dimitri and the Russians have kidnapped Roman. No one mentions Johnny's involvement, so let's keep that a secret between you and me, okay? Nico saves his cousin while his hatred for Dimitri continues to grow. Sometime afterwards, Nico works with Packy to rob one of the larger banks in Liberty City. They then take hostages in the process, and one of which is our third TA protagonist, the criminal's best friend. So let's set the stage one more time and talk about Luis Fernando Lopez. We first see Luis with his man on the ground of Liberty City Bank during the robbery. When he's not fearing for his life, he works as the right-hand man of Anthony Gates Prince, a well-to-do nightclub owner who isn't doing so well anymore. Tony has been losing money, so he works with Luis to make some shady deals. One of these deals is with a character simply known as the Cook. This guy came to Liberty City on the same boat Nico did earlier in the year. See, he stole some diamonds from Bulgarin before going to America and planned to sell them to Tony and Luis. But Bocchino sent Johnny to ambush the deal and steal the diamonds before they could make the exchange. Meanwhile, the McReary family hires Nico to kidnap the daughter of Giovanni Ancelotti, the Don of the Italian mob, and hold her for ransom. Ancelotti believes Gracie's kidnapping has to do with the diamonds, so he blames Tony and Luis. Bocchino actually has the diamonds, so he plans to sell them to the Jewish mob, and he tells Johnny and Nico to oversee the deal. Ancelotti catches wind of this deal and sends Luis to crash it. In the end, Luis walks away with the diamonds, Johnny has all the money, and Nico gets nothing. Black and white, clear as crystal, he gets nothing, loses. Good day, sir. While the hubbub of the diamonds is going on, Bocchino tells Nico where one of his old squad mates is holed up. He tracks down Florian Kravish, which now goes by Bernie Crane. Bernie claims he didn't betray the squad, so Nico narrows it down to one final suspect, Darko Brevich. With some help from Karen and the IAA, Nico tracks him down and kills him, or spares him, depending on what you, the player, choose. Meanwhile, Johnny turns his attention back to his old friend Billy. He's been in prison and is gonna rat on the rest of the Lost MC to reclaim his freedom, so Johnny and his gang break into the prison to personally execute Billy. The bikers then torch their base in Liberty City, tying up all the remaining loose ends. Now, back to diamonds, Ancelotti forces Tony and Luis trade diamonds for his daughter's life. Back and Nico show up to hand Grace over, but partway through the transaction, Bulgarin and his men arrive. Another fight breaks out, and one of Bulgarin's men ends up throwing the diamonds into a dump truck as it drives away. The diamonds are completely out of the picture, so the Ancelotti family contacts Luis to have him kill Tony and his goods. Instead, his loyalty for Tony shines through in two cut ties with mobsters. Luis also assassinates Bulgarin, shutting him up permanently, and reunites with Tony, and the two celebrate getting this town famous. Meanwhile, Jimmy Pecorino, now they're talking about hires Nico to assassinate Bocchino, and now all the pieces are coming together for the end of GTA 4. Deal or no deal? Pecorino asks Nico to conduct one final heroin deal. Nico hesitates though because Dimitri Raslov's involved. Here's the story branches. If he gets the deal, Dimitri will double cross him and try to murder Nico's survivor. lies about his suspended criminal. He attends Roman and Mallory's wedding ceremony, and one of Dimitri's assassins tries to him. Nico survives. With a scuffle, Roman gets fatally shot. With Luke help, Nico hunts down Dimitri and ends him with a brawl. Finally, he makes a phone call to Mallory, who reveals she's innocent. He promises to do his best to be a father figure for If Nico instead decides to skip out of the deal, he'll try to take trust. He enters Dimitri and Mercer. Afterwards, he attends Roman and Mallory's wedding ceremony with Haggie's sister Kate as his +1. She's a genuinely good person. They've been dating for a little while, but just as Nico's ready to put his criminal ways behind him, Pegorino drives by the church, fatally shooting Kate. Nico, along with Jacob and Roman, chase after the crime boss, eventually assassinating him on Happiness Island. This is considered the canon ending, since there's hints of Roman being alive in GTA 5. And if Roman's alive, then that means... yeah, you can figure it out by process of elimination. 2009, Liberty City. A year after Nico's antics, some trouble with the Triads start to flare up in Liberty. City. Chinatown Wars follows the story of Huang Li. His father, a Triad boss, mysteriously died recently. He intends to deliver Yu Jian, his father's prized sword, to his uncle Wu Kenny Li, so Kenny could hand the sword off to Sin Zhou-ming, Liberty City's current Triad boss. Unfortunately, someone steals the sword from Huang the moment he lands in Liberty City. A corrupt police officer named Wade Heston offers Huang a deal, and the two team up to find out who stole Yu Jian, and who murdered Huang's father. At first, Huang investigates both the Angels of Death and the local Korean mob, but